Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Today, I have on Kaitlyn Chloe or KC. So yeah, thank you for joining me today.
Oh, shit. Hold on. Sorry. Hi. Sorry. I had to mute the stream. Hi, y'all. How's it going? I was like, why am I hearing this twice? Oh, crap. I've got the thing on. Sorry.
The joys of live streams.
I know. Yeah, I know. I'm terrible. I'm terrible at it. John does everything. And if I have to be if I have to be held responsible for anything, it's not going to work out.
Yeah, but thank you for joining me today. I am very honored to have you on.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Um, I guess the first question is, who are you and what exactly do you do exactly?
I'm Casey, and I work on the Godless Engineer channel, and Facebook page and Twitter and all those other things. I'm the other half of the GE team, and it's not my regular job, but it does take a lot of work and it's a lot of fun. I do some of my own content. I have Casey's Corner, which I record sometimes, and then I also do the Daily Bible Podcast with GE, where we're going through the Bible. We put out an episode a week for that, and I'm getting my master's degree in systems engineering, so I do school also. So that's pretty much me.
That's gonna be good. The next question is, were you religious before you became an atheist? And if so, what denomination/religion were you?
I was, and I was Catholic, but I was never. I did a lot of work, charity stuff with the Catholic Church, but I always had a lot of questions and never really believed the same things that other people did. So I wasn't. I was Catholic, but I wasn't like super Catholic. I wasn't really into it.
Okay. The next question is, if you were to become religious again, what religion do you see yourself being a part of?
Well, first of all, I wouldn't. But I don't know. I don't know. There's no way that I could be a part of the Catholic Church knowing all the things that I know about it. I mean, God belief aside, I couldn't be a part of that. The evangelical stuff is just ridiculous and does far more harm than good for people. I don't know. I guess probably one of the Eastern religions, maybe. I don't know.
Okay. So like Taoism or Buddhism?
Yeah, probably something like that. Or
Okay.
is there like well, I mean, I guess some people do consider humanism like religious, but I don't think it is necessarily.
I don't.
Um, I don't
Yeah.
know. I guess we could go with like Buddhism, though I don't know a
Okay.
whole lot about it.
Yeah.
But
Okay. What, in your opinion, is the best argument you've heard for God, and what's your best argument that you've heard for God?
oh wow. I think they're all terrible.
That's
I,
why it's the hardest question usually to
I
answer.
know I do. I think they're all terrible. So I guess the best, not for evidence, like not best argument with evidence, because we all know there is no evidence, but people who legit feel things, they have, they talk about personal experiences that they've had. um I believe that they feel those things. They attribute that to God. I don't. But I think that those things are the best argument for them. Like, I think that they think it's real because of the personal experiences that they've had. So, I
Okay.
mean, as far as religious people go, I think that would be the best argument for them as to why they believe it the most. But I don't attribute any of those experiences to God.
Okay. Um, The next one is, what, in your opinion, is the worst argument for God? Now have fun picking out from all of them.
Yeah, that's a hard one too because there's so many.
Yeah.
The worst argument for God, I don't know. I'll be honest with you. I think the Bible is a terrible, like the Bible as a whole or broken up into any individual piece. I think the Bible is a terrible argument for God being a real thing. Um, but one of the ones I hear, one argument I hear, like a reason to be religious is, well, what if you're wrong? I think that's the worst argument as far as being religious. But for God, I think the Bible is the worst argument. Honestly, if you read it with any kind of critical thinking going on, or any kind of skepticism at all, or just even an open mind to, does this make sense? I think anybody who reads it with any kind of open mind is going to come out the other side not believing that that God character is a real thing.
Okay. Yeah. Brian had, I don't know if you saw it. He said something in the chat. He says his neighbor thinks you're yeah, very good looking, Ali. I won't put in the actual wording. He said he's 14 and a half, so his brain
Oh,
is still growing.
okay. Well, you tell him I could be his mother.
Yeah. I think Brian can yeah, so yeah, I just thought that, like, I probably better say it before it scrolls up. Um Now, the next question is, do you think morality could ever be objective? Why or why not?
No, I don't think morality is objective. Mainly because it changes. It changes um, given where you are based on the society that you're in. It changes based on when you are based on the society that you're in. Um, you know, killing people. I think one of the things that most people would consider the closest to an objective moral is don't kill other people.
Yeah.
But throughout history, we have killed other people, and not just because they attacked us, so we had to kill them to, in defense, but also like these people believe differently than we do, so we're going to kill them. And that's okay because killing infidels, or for Islam or for Christianity throughout history, they've killed people who don't believe the same thing that they do. Hell, the Catholic Church and the Church of England, they fucking killed all kinds of people, and they're almost exactly the same.
Yeah.
So I feel like I don't even think that you can stand on don't kill other people as an objective moral, because all you have to do is look at history. So no, I don't think morality is anywhere near objective at all.
Okay. Um the next question was, what was your favorite video to research for Casey's Corner?
Oh man, my favorite well, my favorite video to research is the Christian products one, and I have another Christian products one written that I've been trying to record, but I've been have less and less time given all of the streams that I'm doing now.
Yeah,
Um,
I understand.
but the religious products are just hilarious, and I love reading all the reviews and finding the pictures, and I just laugh my ass off. I don't learn that much, but I have the most fun.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so that's
Okay. In the first Casey Corners you did, where you talked about the JWs and how they have all the different rules for both the boys and the girls, what was the
yes.
most shocking rule you saw for both the boys and the girls?
Well, the boys, I the tight pants thing for the boys, man, I couldn't I that was so bizarre. Like I as a general rule, I think skinny jeans are ridiculous. Not no offense to anybody who wears them, but damn, man, like I don't get them. I don't get them. So like it just makes me think of skinny pants or skinny jeans, but on guys. So for guys, I don't know, the whole pants thing is so weird. Like you're gonna masturbate yourself with your pants. Like
Yeah.
that is so strange to me. Um, and then the girls, the most repulsive rule when it came to the girls was just like basically that you have to be, I don't know, very conservative, and like you have to be like covered, and you can't flirt. You're not allowed to flirt or be any kind of, basically women are not allowed to have any kind of sexuality. And that I think is ridiculous.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, and in that same video, and since you've already brought up the products, what was your reaction when you saw the um baby Jesus butt plug?
Well, so I don't remember where I found that. Like it was not intended. That was not intended to be part of the video. I saw that in something completely unrelated on Twitter. And it was the baby Jesus butt plug wasn't what I saw first. It was the jackhammer Jesus. That's what was in the tweet.
Wow.
And so I just
Yeah, I'm sorry, I gotta do it. I gotta make GE proud. Gotta go with this. I guess they really want God to be with them to fill them up, right?
yes, and you have two products to do both at the same time. You know, so what did I say in the video? Like, now you can have Jesus and go, or something. Oh,
Yeah,
now you can have Jesus and shove him up your ass too, or something like that.
something like that.
So like, but then like in the comments of that video, there were people that were asking about other like sex toys that are religious related. Like there is a Buddha Buddha dildo and a Buddha butt plug.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
but apparently there are all kinds of others. And that people were like, why didn't you talk about this? And why didn't you talk about that? And I'm like, well, Jesus, fuck, I didn't see them. Like, I didn't just like go research for Jesus sex products. Like I didn't, but maybe I should do a whole episode on that. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
My mom hated that episode, by the way.
I
Hated that episode.
Imagine. I thought it was funny.
I did too.
God. Oh god, yeah. The chat's at it. Joey One says, I wonder if nuns use them. Not only Bull.
Buddha in the booty.
I think right now Bull has best comment so far that I've seen.
God, that's great.
When you did the unsanitary practice one,
yeah,
what did you find that maybe did not make the final cut on what you thought might have been interesting?
I don't recall. Let me think. I mean, if you think about it, there's a lot of religious practices that are dangerous. The point really wasn't supposed to be unsanitary as much as it was supposed to be like dangerous, not good for your health kind of.
Okay.
Stuff. So, like the snake handling thing, I didn't put that in there. Okay. But I mean, that's pretty dangerous if you think about it.
Yeah.
And granted, there are all kinds of things that Pentecostals do. Well, we won't say Pentecostals because not all Pentecostals do snake handling, so that's not fair. Yeah. But that snake handlers do is they'll, I don't know if they call it milking, but that's pretty much what it is. They'll get the snake to bite something else right before they start the thing. So they basically extract most of their venom. Yeah. So if they bite you, then they barely have any venom. So you're probably going to be fine.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think that's pretty bad. I don't know. I'm sure there are plenty.
Yeah. I just didn't know if any that you might have saw that didn't make the cut that you thought were interesting. No,
if I'd have seen one that was super interesting, I would have put it in.
Okay.
Because I don't have like on my videos, I don't have like a set time. Like mine aren't like, okay, I want to make it 10 minutes and it's only going to be 10 minutes or I won't go over 20. Like, I don't care. So I just put in what I think is interesting or what I want to talk about.
Okay. What is probably the most interesting thing that you've learned while doing research for any video?
I don't know. What videos have I done? I've researched some cults. I haven't done the videos yet, but I have some stuff on the back burner regarding some fairly sizable cults within the United States. I mean, they're global, but that operate within the United States that actually have tax exemption protection. And there's one, I don't, is it called Happy or Smile, or I can't remember what it's called, but it's a Japanese based cult. And it's unbelievable the things that people will believe and subscribe to. Cults, in my opinion, all religions are cults. It's just they make the jump from cult to religion because they're wildly widely followed
Yeah.
and they're successful. So it's like if more people believe them, then they're not a cult. And
Yeah.
that, I mean, that's pretty much what it is. There is no other real criteria to, I mean, if you look at the Catholic Church, there are specific criteria that what make up a cult. And most churches do meet those. So I don't know. The cult stuff is really interesting. And I had a series planned for that. And I would just, it takes a lot of research because I don't know anything about them. So it's, you know, it's fairly easy for me to, you know, come up with a video. Like I did a video around Easter or around Ash Wednesday about Ash Wednesday and Lent.
Yeah.
And that was easy because I was Catholic. So, you know, I didn't have to look up a whole bunch of stuff. Like I looked up some things just to make sure what I was saying was right. But for the most part, I don't have to do a lot of research. With stuff I don't know anything about, like these cults, I have to research a lot.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I grew up technically Lutheran, even though I associate more with the Southern Baptist. So yeah, I understand the whole ash. I never understood the point of why are you putting ashes on me. That makes no sense. I never got it. And when they try to explain, I'm like, that's just stupid. Whatever.
Well, the drive-by ashes are the ones that kill me now. Like I laugh so hard, and I had never heard of that until I moved down to Alabama. I had never heard of like Ash and Dash ever. And so it was so odd to me when I got down here. There's not a ton of Catholic churches down here. Like where I'm from, there are other religions, but Catholicism is really big. Down here, Catholicism is not really big. But you know, it's the Ash and Dash thing is super strange. Like I think the point isn't the point to like take your time and be somber and like think about like your life and things that you do and you know what you should sacrifice. Like isn't it supposed to be like
you're because the whole Ash Wednesday service is always about well what Jesus and God gave up for you. So what are you giving? It's supposed to be that. That's why when you said that, I was like, that makes even less sense than putting ashes on your forehead.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's interesting. Yeah. The next question is what was the most frustrating video that you have made so far? Like it was just whether it just be time consuming with research or just the topic itself.
Well, so the most frustrating one to record was my first one because I was terrible. And it took, I think it was a little over 7 minutes, the video, but it took me, I don't know, it was almost 50 minutes of recorded stuff. And because I decided I was going to go do a script because John is like, so Godless Engineer, he's brilliant at the off the cuff and just talking, and that's all he does. Well, I mean, not all he does. Occasionally he'll script a video, but not very often. And and so he is almost always just talking, and I can't do that. So I scripted my video, but then I had a problem with like, well, I kept looking over at it, and then I couldn't remember like I'm a writer before this. I wrote blog posts. And when I was in college, I wrote for our college paper. When I was in high school, I wrote for the high school paper. So I'm a writer. So I'm really careful about all the words that I choose and everything, how I formulate the story and everything. So that's really important to me. And when I pick the right words and it's the right words, that's what I want to say.
Yeah.
But then when I'm in front of the camera, I can't remember exactly every word, but I can't read it because I don't use a avatar. So I wish I would have decided to use an avatar instead of doing face videos, because it would be a whole lot easier. I could just write my script and say what I want to say. So the most frustrating one to record was my first one, but I've learned, a couple tips and tricks since then. I've also learned to relax a little bit about my scripts, because I'm not going to say exactly what's on the paper ever.
Yeah.
So, but the most frustrating topic was the Imagine No Religion video, the last one that I did.
Yeah.
Because it was based on that Fox News article about how atheists are arrogant and dangerous, and that really got to me. I did not plan that video. I saw that article, wrote the script, and recorded it that night. So I saw it at work, wrote the script, and then came home and recorded, because I was so actually that week I was going to record a cult video, and I saw that and I was like, nope, this is my video this week. And so it was very frustrating, because everything in the article was bad information. And Fox News is huge, whether any of us really like it or not. Fox News is huge. And so they're giving people these impressions, even though it was an opinion piece, right? It was on their website as an opinion piece. Still, it gives people a bad impression of who atheists are as people. And now who atheists are as people varies so significantly from person to person. But it perpetuated the bad idea that atheists are bad people and that we're dangerous people, because we're not. I mean, sure, there are some atheists who are bad people. There are some atheists who are dangerous people. There are some atheists who would kill people, but not any higher a percentage than bad religious people, or religious people who would kill people, or religious people who would lie. And to say that just because we don't believe in a God means all of these things is really insulting and upsetting. And not that it's really hard for me to get offended. Me personally, I wasn't personally offended, because I know it's ridiculous, but it gives other people who don't know a really bad impression of who we are without knowing who we are at all.
Yeah. That makes perfect sense. What would be one topic you would love to research on religion for a Casey's Corner?
I don't know. The cult stuff is interesting to me. I don't know. I really like history. I really like the history of religions. So talking about religion from a social perspective, from a sociological perspective, I think people have tend to respond really well to the more educational videos, because even if you were exposed to religion when you were growing up, usually you were exposed to one or maybe two, depending if your parents or somebody in your family was a different religion. But for the most part, people don't know a lot about other religions, and there's a lot to know. So and it's I think religion is fascinating from a sociological perspective. So and to I like to read about why religions are the way they are. Why did this develop at this time? What was going on in society at the time when this started that made people follow it? And so I just think that stuff is super interesting. I don't know if other people would think so, but I do.
Yeah. Okay. And the next one is: have you ever thought about doing maybe numerology and religion, or talking on that?
I haven't ever thought about that.
Okay.
I don't know anything about numerology.
Okay.
Like, not a thing.
Yeah, that one I actually can't take credit for coming up with that one. That one I actually kind of give credit to the GE stream earlier when he was gaming because someone had mentioned it. I'm
Oh,
like,
yeah.
oh, I could ask Casey and see if she thought of that for an idea.
I wouldn't be opposed to it. I just don't know anything about it at
Yeah,
all.
I understand. Um, what was your favorite video that you have made for Casey's Corner?
Um, I don't know. That's really hard because I like them for varying reasons. I dislike my first one because I think I did the worst, but I like my first one because it was, I mean, it was my first one, you know, and I thought it was educational and informative, and I thought it was funny. Like, I thought I was funny, so like I liked it. But I'm most passionate about the last one I did, the Imagine No Religion. But I think like the religious products is super fun and I really enjoy doing it. And I actually enjoy recording it because most of the time I don't enjoy recording because I'm so terrible at it. But I really actually enjoyed recording the religious products video.
Okay. All right. And then the other side of that is what is your least favorite um video that you have made for Casey's Corner?
Um, it's a good thing I haven't made very many videos, right? I don't know. Hold on. Let me look at my channel here and see which one I can't remember. So I don't know. The creation myth one was okay. I think I got a couple of things wrong, and that one took a long time, not only to research but to find all of the pictures and to do all that. So that's probably my least favorite one, but I thought it ended up okay.
Yeah, that's actually I think my favorite one.
Is it?
Yeah, I actually because that
Yeah,
was like I hadn't
you're right.
heard. I think I only heard of one. It was the one with whichever one had the snake in it.
Yeah.
That's the one that I had heard. But beyond that, it's after that. It's like no, I don't know any of
Well,
those really.
and it's interesting because not a lot is known about a lot of these creation stories and different because a lot of creation stories are come from like originate from more tribal
Mhm.
groups, different like even the rainbow snake one,
Yeah,
different tribal areas have different versions. So like there were some people in the comments that were like, you got this wrong. Well, according to this tribe, but according to this tribe, I didn't. So it was
yeah,
kind of frustrating when I was trying to put it together because I was purposefully trying to be pretty general, um, while still, you know, giving enough information because there are variations on them. So,
okay. Um, what uh, what Bible study story are you looking forward to the most to get to in your Bible study?
oh man, I was really looking forward to getting to the laws, which we're in right now, but
Okay.
but it's been tough because we haven't gotten into any of the good ones. Like right now, it's just how much shit, like how many animals you have to kill for what celebrations and how you have to kill them and like peeling the cover off the liver and like cutting
Yeah.
their asshole out and like I don't know, man. It's just
Yeah,
it's
it's
been
weird.
it's been very strange.
Yeah, yes. The God of the Old Testament is has some weird stuff he's into. I mean,
Yeah.
literally the entrails. So literally burning shit is most
Yeah.
pleasing to the Lord.
It's
That's what.
yeah, it's been really odd so far. But I don't know. I was looking a lot really forward to the laws. The New Testament will be interesting. I
Yeah.
think we'll probably I think we'll probably also work in some of the mythicism angle for the New
Okay.
Testament,
That
but
sounds fun.
we yeah, because we are both mythicists. In that, like, I don't know for sure that Jesus wasn't a person that existed. I just, me personally, I don't think that the evidence
Yeah.
that has been provided to prove Jesus existed really proves that.
Yeah.
So I don't care if Jesus was a real person or not. I don't care. It doesn't make any difference in my life or not. I'm not convinced that he was, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, I'm kind of right there with you. I mean, I'm one of those. If you ask me, do I care? I'm like, yeah, whatever. I don't care. Doesn't
Yeah.
matter to me. I now the Jesus in the Bible that's presented there, no way that Jesus existed.
Oh, well,
Now,
there were fuck tons of like Jesuses. Like
oh
Jesus was a
yeah,
super popular name, like Jesua, and like
yeah,
all of those names were really popular. So the fact that there were people named that, of course, but
yeah,
the
and
Jesus
it's
character in the Bible,
yeah.
as a person, I don't
Now,
buy it.
now I do think he might have been based off of one crazy ranting views, and then it just how how telephone works. Oh, this person said this, and then it grows into something that it never was.
Well, yeah,
Um,
and there were a lot of Jews at that time that were looking for the Messiah. They were looking for that.
yeah,
And so the fact that they wanted to see that in like a medicine man or some other kind of artist or someone who did something that they couldn't explain, but maybe they just didn't understand what they'd saw, or you hear one thing from one person and then the story grows and
yeah,
everything else. So it's just I'm just not convinced. And I
yeah,
think I'm looking forward to the New Testament because I think we'll get into some of that stuff. Plus,
yeah,
there will probably be a little more analysis when it comes to the New Testament when you're looking at the Gospels and the similarities between them, because the Gospels, there are three of them that are like between like 70 and 90% the exact same. Like
yeah,
and
yeah.
like
John is
verbatim.
John's the oddball. John's the one that's way out there. That's just like, wow.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
John did write Revelation was on acid, so
Well,
maybe
so
it's
yeah, so I think we'll get into some pretty interesting stuff when it comes to that because we'll be looking at it from kind of like we do now from a critical standpoint. But
yeah,
I mean, when you're looking at the Old Testament, it's being critical from like a historical standpoint. This stuff is not historical,
no,
and we know that. Are there historical factors there?
yeah,
Sure. um there are people in the Bible that did exist, but there are plenty of people in the Bible that we have no evidence that existed. So the
yeah,
Old Testament is tough. But I mean, it's easy to criticize it, obviously, but I think the New Testament will have a little more analysis versus just
okay,
here's what it says and like let's laugh at this ridiculous shit.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, which speaking of laughing at it, I do got to ask this: which episode was the hardest to control GE on from just really going overboard
Oh
so
my
far?
God. We had to actually, oh God, I don't remember what episode it was. I think it was the one where I think it was the one with the guy, what was his name? And the donkey went off the road.
Oh
Like the
yeah, I know
so
the one where God talks out of his ass. Yeah, I know which one you're talking
yeah,
about.
I don't remember if it was that one. I think it was, but there was one episode where like every time John talked at all, he made some kind of dick or ass joke. And I was like, we got about 35 minutes in and I was like, you have to stop. This has to stop. We need to re-record starting here because this is ridiculous. Like it was too much. It was too
Yeah,
much. So we actually ended up going back and re-recording over some of that because
yeah.
it was constant. If I was getting irritated, I know other people would
I,
probably get irritated. I mean, some people would probably think it was
yeah,
funny, but
yeah. It's GE. Come on.
yeah. Well, the thing about it is you got to have a balance. Like it can't just all be
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
So like I don't know, and it felt like that episode it felt like it was constant that and I was like, "Man, like you're funny, but this is overboard. Let's
yeah.
not."
Don't tell GE he's funny. You don't want him to get a swollen head. Uh, I'm just kidding, G. If you're listening, you're a great guy.
Oh no,
Uh,
he's taken his son back to his
yeah.
mom's.
Okay. Oh, wait. If you do tune in and listen, you're a great guy.
He's all
Um.
right.
Yeah. So yeah, any questions from the from there was one up earlier. Should have copied it. It was where was it? About what is the ash for? Referring to Ash Wednesday.
Oh, it's supposed to like symbolize the that we come from ashes, like we come from dust, into dust we shall return. So like that people were made from the dirt and will become dirt when we die. It's supposed to be symbolic of that.
Okay.
In fact, they say like when they're blessing the ashes, they say something like that. There's like a little prayer thing that they say, and it mentions that.
Um. Yeah. I'm not really seeing any questions.
Secular
Yeah.
said, "More dick jokes, more dick jokes." Come
Yeah.
on, don't tell us
Did you see what I said?
that. Mm-mm.
Exactly how I typed it.
No. Oh, is it down there? Hold on.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So it's funny because I was getting a cup to put some water in for Xander. He was taking his medicine, and
Uh,
because he has allergy medicine, so he has to drink water after he takes the allergy medicine. So, um, he I was in the cupboard getting a cup, and I pull out a cup and I go to put water in it, and the fucking cup says Jesus come on it because John John used it for a video and used Sharpie on it, so it didn't come off. So I was like, oh, I guess I should get a different fucking cup to give an 8-year-old instead of a cup that says Jesus come.
I can just see that. Hey, what does this mean? I can just see that happen. Oh boy. Um.
Does Jesus have beer? Does GE have beer breath? No.
Yeah.
It's funny because people think that he's drunk all the time. He drinks one beer when he live streams on Monday and one beer when he live streams on Saturday. And that's all he drinks ever.
Yeah.
Like,
I've
I mean,
been.
occasionally if we go out for dinner or whatever, he'll get a beer, but he rarely drinks.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't. I've had people ask, "Are you drunk or something?" I'm like, "No." They're like, "Oh, you sound." I go, "No, I come from rural Kansas, and yes, we sound like Southern Hicks." I just I've actually had someone think I was from Bama one time because I
Oh yeah.
sound like a freaking hick. I'm like, no, I'm not.
Yeah, I'm not from here either. And the accent here is actually it's actually I live in just outside of Huntsville. And Huntsville is a highly educated city. Like the per capita, like we're in like the top 5 per capita for advanced degrees in the country. And it's most people who live here are transplants. So most people who live here aren't from here.
Yeah.
And that's basically just because of like government work, because they brought the whole rocket program here,
Yeah.
the booster program in World War II and things like that. So all of that stuff is here. We have NASA here. We have all kinds of stuff here. So most people who are here aren't from here. And John is from, well, he's from Northern Alabama, but I am not from here.
Okay. One that comes from Jen with one N is what apologist theory makes your eyes roll?
Oh, well, so apologist theories, all of them, because they're ridiculous. But specifically, like ones I can't stand, like to even. I mean, I think I make it pretty obvious. I'm usually pretty good with most people, but there are some people I just can't stand to even be around. And I think it's very obvious to most people that I hate White Engine with the fire of 1,000 suns. That guy makes me want to stab myself in the face with a pencil. And SJ. I can't deal with SJ. But
Oh yeah. Oh,
yeah.
I guess of the big ones, it's really William Lane Craig, because that guy, he has a hell of an ability to say a million words without saying a single thing at all.
Yeah, and that's they do a lot of word salad because they and you know what's funny but kind of dangerous is that they can say a whole bunch of words in, various orders that make them sound like they're smart.
Oh yeah.
And that's dangerous for people who aren't very smart.
Yeah, and it's like that's why I hate about William Lane Craig, because if you don't know what he's doing, when he does the
Mhm.
whole, well, we have morals, and if a God would exist, we would have morals. Therefore, we have morals. Therefore, a God. If you don't know what they're trying to do, and you don't know how to shut that down, that can really, really get you caught in like, well, what the heck? And it's one I hate, but I love to watch because it's just fun to watch him tap dance. Rabbi
Mhm.
Zacharias.
I don't know who that is.
Oh, he's bad. Like, you ask him a question, he'll spend 7 minutes answering it, but he never addresses the question.
Yeah.
He tap dances and dodges it. I've said this. I said I wish tap dancing was an Olympic sport because he would be a gold medalist.
You know,
Yeah, that
you
bad.
know, you know who else is really dangerous? I saw somebody in the chat say that William Lane Craig has a lot of charisma too,
Yeah.
and that makes him dangerous. You know who else is like that is Pastor Greg Locke.
Oh
Um,
God. Oh
Pastor Locke. Now I've met him personally.
yeah.
Pastor Greg. He and I were supposed to actually do some charity work for the homeless in Nashville together, and the first time I went to see him speak, I I was very intrigued because he is so likable, which, you know, if if you want to like him, like if you don't have any opinion or whatever, you're going to like him. You're going to like him because he's such a likable guy. When he talks, he's so personable, and the stuff he says, pretty much everybody can relate to something that he's talking about.
Yeah.
And if you're not looking at him with skepticism, you will lose the battle. You
Oh
will
yeah.
lose the battle every time. He is so good at drawing people in, and that is extremely dangerous because his ideas are bad. And the stuff that happened with his ex-wife, that's
Yeah.
why I elected not to continue to do anything with him.
Oh yeah.
um
I yeah.
and I knew from the first time when we left, I told John, I said, I think that he's a sociopath. I
Yeah.
don't know that he's a sociopath, but I think he is because he's awesome on the surface. But underneath there's something wrong. Like there is
Oh
something
yeah.
completely off. If you're looking, it was easy for me to spot, but if you're not looking for that and you just want to like him, you're gonna.
Yeah, yeah. When I found out, because I was like, he seems like, when I first heard about him, I first listened to him, I was like, okay,
Mhm.
he's not. He has some dumb arguments, but he's charismatic and he seems personable. And then I found out what he
Mhm.
did to his ex-wife, and I'm like, yeah, no, this guy is trash. I
Yeah.
have no respect for him, especially being someone who had been through an abusive relationship. It's not. No, you automatically get the title of some of the worst humans in history when you do that.
Yeah. It's a whole bad situation, and I
Yeah.
just I it's so easy to get sucked into somebody like Greg, which is why
Oh yeah.
he's so dangerous.
Yes. Yes, he is. And Craig's the same way. He's very charismatic. Rabbi Zacharias, don't get me wrong. I mean, he's very charismatic, and you don't know, if you aren't paying attention to what he says,
Mhm.
it sounds interesting.
Yeah.
Like he was asked one time, well, how do you, how do you know such and such is true? Is Well, Christianity is the one true religion, and he literally spent like 9 minutes tap dancing and not answering the question. The answer he did give was just like, yeah. He finally touched on it at the end after you
Mhm.
kind of had all this bullshit thrown at you, so you're already just like trying to figure out what the heck are you talking about? And then he touches on it, and the answer is so much bullshit as well, and it doesn't work. Uh, Dallas Iowan, you're late. I'm gonna have to dock your pay, and I know I'm not paying you, so you owe me money.
I am. I'll give you a bonus.
I, but yeah, I think that.
Jen with one N asked if I ever do book reviews. No, and I don't do book reviews because I barely have time to read books for like pleasure or anything like that. So no, I have been trying to get through that Ron Miscavige book, Ruthless. I have been trying to get through Ruthless for a long time, which is a fascinating book. If you don't know who Ron Miscavige is, he is David Miscavige's father, and David Miscavige runs Scientology. And Ron has escaped and lost his whole family. He and his wife escaped Scientology and lost the whole family. David Miscavige had spies spying on them. He found them and had people spying on them for over a year. And Ron wrote this book called Ruthless about what Scientology does to people who want to leave. Yeah. And it's heartbreaking. But it's really worth your time. If you have time, I would read Ruthless, but I have tons of books on the back burner. Man, because whenever we go to conferences or anything, or even if I know somebody like online who's an author, I will get their books, but I only buy the books if I can get them signed by the author. So every book I have by an atheist author is signed. I have started to read a couple a long time ago. I started to read a couple of Dr. Carrier's books.
Yeah.
And I actually think that Rick is going to be coming to stay with us for a couple of days in June. So that'll be nice because we've met Rick several times. He's a great guy. And I have all of David Fitzgerald's books, and I really want to read those.
Yeah. Yeah, Chris has asked this question twice now, so I probably better ask.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're fine. What is your most hated argument? But he added to it. So, what's your favorite and most hated forms of argument from religious folk?
Oh, I guess I don't know. We kind of already talked about that a little bit, but like, I don't know. I hate condescension. Yeah. And so when religious people get all like haughty and condescending about being right, that just chaps my ass and I'm done. Like, I don't want to talk to you, which is probably one of the reasons why I don't like SJ, is just because it's so ridiculous and they think they're right so strongly. And I think I'm right so strongly, but you know, I try not to be a condescending cunt about it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, I try. Sometimes I fail. I know sometimes I fail, but
yeah. God damn it, Casey. Why are you fucking cussing on my stream?
Sorry.
I'm joking. I don't care. That's all.
Anybody who asks me to come on their stream knows.
Yeah, I know.
They know.
Yeah, I'm not against swearing. If you want to swear, have at it. I'm be fine.
It's funny, when we went to the Creation Museum, we sat at lunch. So we went to, anybody who doesn't know, GE and I went to the Creation Museum a few weeks ago with Telltale Atheist, and we went to lunch beforehand, and we sat at the table at lunch, and I pulled up the AIG website. Well, not the AIG website, but the Creation Museum website, which is attached to it. And they have a ridiculously lengthy list of rules. So we went through all of the rules. One of them is that you're not allowed to cuss. And
I think G broke that a couple times.
Yeah. Well, so we got plenty of time in the different areas where we were the only people in the area. And we tried to be respectful of the other people who were there. Yeah. So they were there to, have an experience and whatever, and that's fine, I guess. It's upsetting because when you go through the Creation Museum, it's all so well done,
Yeah.
and they make it out like this makes sense in science. And so that's what makes it dangerous, because people are like, "Oh, this doesn't contradict with science. Like this makes sense within science." And it totally does not. But they make it out like it does, which was
Hey, yeah.
was ridiculous. But yeah, so I kind of had to rein GE in a few times when there would be people around, or like an employee would show up, and I would be like, "Hey, you need to like chill for a minute." And then they would leave, and then we would continue. So like we tried not to be too disruptive, but the rules, like one of
Right.
them was no cussing. Also you can't wear any kind of costumes at all.
Oh.
Yeah, no costumes.
Well, okay, so I need to get rid of my trench coat costume. Go as a
well,
streaker.
so I guess Holy Kool-Aid had promised his patrons, I think, that he would go to the Creation Museum and have video of him handing out apples dressed as the devil at the Creation Museum. So we're actually going back. We're going to the Creation Museum, and in the summer, I think sometime in July, maybe. We don't have a date scheduled yet, but we're going to go back to the Creation Museum, and then also to the Ark Encounter,
Yeah.
with Holy Kool-Aid, Genetically Modified Skeptic. Telltale will be back, and me and John. So we're going to go back, but I have to break it to Thomas, and I haven't done it yet, that he's
Yeah.
not going to be able to dress up as the devil and hand out apples.
That would
So I'll have to figure it out.
that's oh yeah, I want to go see them, but I don't want to just waste money on going there. It's I don't know.
Yeah.
What what was the most interesting part of the Creation Museum?
Um, well, it kind of a little bit surprised me how hard they hit the whole world without God thing. Um, they did a whole section where like everything got dark and there was like red light, and um there was graffiti everywhere and garbage everywhere, and like they made it out to like a world without God is hell. And they had this one section where there was this door that had a bunch of padlocks on it, but it was like there were all kinds of scratches on the door, like somebody was trying to get in or out. I'm not really sure, but it was terrifying. Like it was one of
Yeah.
those, how you see like in a lot of evangelical churches, they'll preach by fear.
Yeah.
They fear a lot. Well, so I was shocked at how hard they hit fear. And there were little kids there.
Yeah.
Like this, so that I got most angry when I think it was a group of Mennonites came in, and they had like 9 little children with them. And I wanted to stand there and cry, because
I
that's
understand.
that's what gets me so bad, is when indoctrination ruins the minds of children. Like you're
Yeah.
ruining their mind, and that breaks my heart. I don't understand why people like that get to have so many kids, and then there's people out there who can't have kids who want to,
Yeah.
and that would be so much better for them. And I looked at that group of kids, and I have to wonder, like, who in that somebody in that group of children is going to be gay, and the
Yeah.
things that they're going to go through.
Oh
And
God, yes. I
somebody in like, and it just, man, it tears me up so
Yeah, it
bad.
does. It's
And
because they're gonna spend their whole life hating who they are, how they feel,
yes,
and think that they're just wrong and that they're absolutely crazy and going to hell, and they're going to be even more terrified of it, and they're going to hate themselves even more, which will then make them.
it's
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 a
a
it's a
horrible,
never ending cycle.
it's a horrible cycle. And it just breaks my heart when I see that, when I
Yeah,
see kids with parents, and the indoctrination that happens, that just it tears me up.
yeah, yeah. That's just because yeah, the fear aspect of that they all play on is just
Mhm.
it's not It's
Well,
child abuse. It's psychological child abuse. There's no other
I
nicer way to put it.
I agree. And to think that all those little kids, I mean, and there were some that were, a little older, young kids, like 10 or
Yeah,
whatever, but there were some really little ones that
yeah,
were, walking, but like, and I just thought when I saw them, because we passed them, well, they ended up passing us. So we passed them for a section and then they passed us, and then we went through the like scary portions.
yeah,
And um I was just so horrified that those kids saw that, and like they were probably terrified.
yeah, yeah. It's
And I'm just like, "Oh my god." Like it deflates me. It deflates my whole being when I see shit like that. Cuz there's nothing I can do about it. There's
yeah,
nothing I can do.
yeah. And it's I mean, I've had someone argue when I've said it's child abuse, I I had someone say no, it's not. I go, all right. So if you have a kid and you tell them every day of their life that if they don't listen to you, you're gonna beat them and torture them beyond belief, would you consider that psychological child abuse, even if you don't do it?
Mhm.
They go, well, yeah. I go, what does God do? And they go, well,
Yeah.
He's God. And it's just like, no, you're. It hurts when I see people like that because they, they don't know that what they're doing is hurting them. They
Yeah.
just think they're doing it because that's what God wants, and it's like, no, you're hurting them,
You're hurting
and it's
people. Yeah.
and that's one way you want to make me mad, hurt
Yeah.
a kid. That
And it
that's the easiest way to get on my. That's how you get right at the top of my hate list.
Well, and it's tough because they don't think they're hurting the
Yeah,
kid. They think that they're doing what's best for the kid. And
yeah,
so it's because they've been indoctrinated to that. So it's religion is just this
yeah,
awful cycle of and it really is emotional abuse. Even if they don't like even if it's not overt, right? It's still when you teach somebody that other people aren't okay because of what they believe, and other people aren't okay because of how they feel and who they love and what they wear, and like I mean all the random fucking reasons that people in religion hate other people. I mean there's so much hate in religion, and it's shocking because it's supposed to be about love. Like it's just it's insane. At least Christianity is supposed to be that way.
yeah. Oh, yeah. It's and Glow. I'm not telling good people to hate. I'm
Yeah.
calling out haters. And
Yeah.
I'm going to warn you right now, Glow. Our last interaction, you are on thin ice with the last interaction I had with you.
Who the hell is Glow?
Someone who was in one of, I don't remember whose chat, one of
Oh.
someone's streams, and I've had interactions with them before, and they're from the last one we had, they are on thin ice with me.
Oh.
So yeah, I don't know if I'm really seeing any. I just saw Christmas comment. I mean, how will I ever do my Batman in the beginning cosplay?
What?
Early when you were talking about no costumes.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, I just saw Christmas coming, or is it Chrysler? I can never keep it straight.
It's
I'm like GE.
Christmas.
I know. I have to give him a hard time.
I know. He's got it now. He's got it
Yeah,
now. It just he
yeah,
is so bad with names. It's so funny when the election came around. Oh God, now that I've said it, I can't remember what the guy's name is. The guy from Ohio. Damn
oh,
it.
oh, Kozak or something like that.
Um, Somebody in the chat give it to me. Um, Candidate Kasich. It was
Yeah,
Kasich. Okay, so when he could not get Kasich right, and Kasich is like the easiest way to say it, right?
yeah,
It might be spelled a little fancy, but it's not said like fancy. But he could not say Kasich to save his life. It was like he would say Kashyyyk and all kinds of other weird shit. Like, what are you doing? So yeah, Chrismer he's finally got charisma down, I think.
Yeah. Glow, I stand by what I said when I said good to Edgy when she said she hated White Engine and whoever else it was. I know who you're talking about. And yes, guess what? They deserve to be hated. So I'm
But well,
sorry if
I
you
have good
stand by
reason.
them. I don't know what else to say.
I have good reasons for feeling the way I feel about those specific people. I get along with a lot of religious people. In fact,
Yeah,
I
I
email I email with Max Kolbe almost every day. I don't know how many people of you knew that, but me and Max Kolbe, we talk all the time. And
Max hates me.
Max hates most people, but if you get him talking about things that are not religious based, he's actually not too bad. But when it comes to the religious stuff, and here's the deal, I think he's trying. I think he's trying to do better. We'll see what happens, but I really do think that he's trying to do better. So we'll
My
see.
last interaction with him, I'll have to disagree.
When was your last reaction or
Uh,
interaction?
back when you did the one post and he blocked you on
Oh yeah.
Facebook back then, and I went on and I basically commented back on there, and then he blocked me and then unblocked me, then got mad because he couldn't re-block me right away. So I spent the 48 hour
There was
time frame just screwing with him, and after a while, he was just getting really out there. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna have some fun and screw with him. So I started acting like an extreme SJW. Like instead of history, I used herstory. I claimed everything was patriarchy. I went the whole nine. I was like, how can I get him just over the top?
Yeah.
And,
So Glow, I have to disagree. She says you are teaching others to hate. Hate slowly destroys the hater inwardly. I don't know any atheists, certainly none in our community that advocate for hating people. So I think that you're misunderstanding what you're
yeah,
seeing here.
yeah.
So
I I have people who I hate, but I have a lot of respect for religious people. In fact, I'm going to do a little self plug here. I don't care. I have a theist coming on June 1st for a talk, and he is a theist. And obviously, we don't agree, but I feel I have enough. And the thing is, this is how much respect I have for the guy. After he answered one question of mine, I wanted to get him on my channel to talk because I felt he could add that much to a conversation. I have friends who are pastors who I am very good friends with, and I've known my whole life. And I don't hate any of them. I mean, obviously, we think each other are completely wrong on our beliefs, but
yeah.
yeah, I mean, we get along as long as. And the thing is, even on some of those pastors, I can sit down and have a 3 hour discussion on religion, no problem, and we're
Yeah.
just fine.
Well, so like with some people specifically, I don't just dislike somebody just to dislike them. Like that's just not in my nature. So if I don't like someone, I have a good reason for it. I don't dislike people solely because they're religious. I
Yeah,
absolutely do not. I talk to all kinds of religious people. I am surrounded with religious people constantly. I live in Alabama,
yeah,
so I don't dislike anyone just to dislike them. I have good reasons. So
yeah,
you Glow may not understand those reasons. You may not know those reasons, but that's okay. I have my reasons. And
yeah,
I think there are people here who do understand them. So
yeah,
I think that's why you're getting some pushback.
yeah. I absolutely hate Max Kolbe, mostly because I view him as a child abuser. I will call him that. I I mean, people can disagree with me, but what he has done, I view as child abuse, as psychological child abuse. He does not understand the first thing about history, even though he tries, claims he does. He doesn't. Um, and he's just a pompous windbag. I hate him for that. I hate. Um, I'll just leave their name at Amanda for what they did to me when I was a kid. I won't go into much on that. It's not something I want to open up on. I've
Mm-hmm.
done it once on here, and that's enough on that. So no, I hate certain people, and yes, when I say hate, I mean hate. But that's a very small group.
Yeah. And generally strong reactions to people like that have reasons. Like
Yeah,
I think it's incredibly I do think it's abusive when you teach another person to, like a child, when you teach a child to hate other people or not hate or hate other people or not trust other people, simply because of an individual belief that they hold, I think that's harmful. I think that teaches bigotry, and it's just bad. I just think it's bad to do that. And when you do it to children, I don't like that. I think it's unacceptable. But I don't know. I think there are usually really good reasons why people feel the way they
Yeah.
feel about specific people.
Yeah.
So maybe just try to understand that.
Yeah.
And I'm not telling anybody on here to dislike the same people that I dislike.
Yeah.
If they dislike them, it's probably because they have their own reasons.
Yeah. 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 Um, I'm the same way. I mean, you don't have to. I mean, there's people who I know who watch Max and think he's great, and I think they're idiots. But the thing is, I don't. At least on that topic, um, we obviously do not agree. I have a friend who's a freaking young Earth creationist. Okay,
Yeah.
I we do
I
not
work
talk
with
science.
I work with some young earth creationists who
Oh,
have PhDs.
oh god. I,
It's
I,
shocking.
yeah. I mean, I have, like I said, we don't talk religion. We'll talk
Mhm.
anything else under the sun, but we don't talk religion
Yeah.
because one time we went at it, and I finally just got tired of doing it. I just went on to Google Scholar and typed in evolution, and I just started sending paper after paper after paper after paper, peer-reviewed study. I think I did that for about a week. I sent him probably over 100 papers. And he just
Yeah.
finally said, if you don't stop, I'm going to block you. I'm like, all right, I don't want to lose my friendship over this with you. I've known you my whole life. We can
Yeah.
just,
Sometimes
it
there are
was,
things, yeah, sometimes there are things you just have to shy away from,
yeah,
and and I don't think that that's necessarily a bad thing. I think if you can influence people
yeah,
who maybe have ideas that you think are bad, um like, so my mom is not religious, but she has always been a Republican.
okay,
Um, she's not really a sciencey person, but she's
yeah,
a great person,
yeah,
and we have some differing ideas. But like, she she doesn't understand the whole activism thing that I
yeah,
do. She understands it more now
oh,
because to her, like, back when I first started doing this, she's like, I don't understand why you're doing this. Why don't you just live and let live?
yeah,
Well, I understand your thoughts here, mom, about live and let live. I get what you're saying, and I understand. But here's why live and let live isn't necessarily always going to work. And so I started telling her about, some things, some bad stuff that happens on behalf of religion. And so when I would talk to her about it, she would be like, well, that's a one-off thing that, like, is random thing that never really happens, just one off.
yeah,
And then I would send her more. And so I would see a story and I would send it to her, and see something else and send it to her. And, you know, she started to come around and understand. She doesn't want to be an activist, but I'll tell you this. She's always been a Republican, did not vote for Trump. She hates Trump. Um, but she found out that, well, we had a special election here between uh, Doug Jones and Roy Moore. I'm sure you heard about Roy
oh
Moore on the,
god,
on the
oh,
national
you
news.
wanna,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah,
I, that's another person I will say I hate only because of what he did.
yeah. So my my mom called me and she's like, we have to go out and do campaign stuff for Doug Jones. And like, she wanted to do something
Yeah,
because there was no way that she wanted Roy Moore to be in office. And so, like, she's slowly coming around to things. So if you can have
yeah,
a positive influence on
yeah,
somebody and just not even get them to think what you think, but show them what you see and let them decide.
yeah. Exactly, exactly. And
Yeah.
and I admit, I probably shouldn't have sent all those, articles and papers that I sent my friend. We had been going at it back and forth, and I'm like, because he sent me stuff from like AID and that, and I would send him, actual peer reviewed articles, and I'm like, no, here's what what it actually says. It's you're not getting it right, and it's so. I mean, yeah, we just sometimes you have to learn when just to just go. Okay, that's one topic we do not talk on.
Sometimes.
So yeah, it's yeah, but I'm right there with you. My parents are very far right. And yeah, being supportive of LGBT rights and being an atheist and some of the other views I hold. Um, I have been called a far left liberal loon, even though I'm about as far from that as I can be almost. I'm very much quote unquote what people call libertarian.
Yeah.
I'm classic liberal, but the term, as you know, in any really deep red state, the term liberal not a good term to use. Very negative
Yeah.
connotation. So that's why I
And
just use libertarian.
and in really conservative, like Tea Party kind of ways, libertarians are even seen as liberal. And like liberals, like true liberals, progressives see libertarians as conservative.
Yeah, yeah. I've had. The funny thing is, after someone called me a far left liberal loon,
Yeah.
and there's in a YouTube comments debate, someone who was apparently a far left liberal said that person is not a far left liberal loon. They're a far right teabagging conservative, and I'm like, you have no clue who I am.
Yeah.
We're both so far off. Both my parents are what they call Tea Party patriots. And
Yeah.
that.
I've been called an SJW and a an alt-righter in the same day.
I, I've been I haven't had it the same day, but I've been called it at different times too. So it's like I just look back at those, I just laugh. I'm like, this just shows how much you know about me.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah,
I think the thing with libertarians is that people I think that conservatives see them as liberal loons because of their views on social issues,
yeah,
because libertarians are far more liberal when
yeah,
it comes to social issues, but economically speaking and when it comes to like constitutional views and things like that, they're much more conservative.
yeah. Um, but yeah, it's yeah. I mean, I am yeah in that aspect. That's exactly where I am, and I mean because of my my outspoken advocates for everything that I do and I feel is right. Um, I am. I've been called that, but I like I said, I'm a libertarian, classic liberal, and yeah, this has really gone gone a little way off of what we were originally meant to talk on. Oh well, it's fine. But
Godless engineers watching. Hi, honey.
yeah, I'll find a room, you two.
He's driving home.
I know. Uh, but yeah, it's um, I really don't have much else. I'm not seeing. Oh yeah. No, so I don't get yelled at. I was supposed to ask you about the content. I guess the playlists and stuff you have on your channel. Dom was asking about that. But before he
Oh,
rings me for that and asks again, I think he asked twice. So
yeah. So a lot of people have been on my shit about fixing my channel up because it legit had nothing on it. So what GE told me that I could do was instead of like uploading content to my channel, I could still do it how I do it and just link playlists. So like on GE's channel, he has a Casey's Corner playlist. So and he also has a Daily Bible podcast playlist. So I just simply linked the playlists on my channel so that when GE loads them to the Godless Engineer channel, they'll also be available on mine. But when you click on them, it'll take you over to his channel, which is fine.
okay,
And then I created another playlist yesterday with appearances. So like guest appearances. And this live stream was already set up. So it's already on my channel too.
okay, all right, that's
Yeah.
fine. Yeah, yeah. Gallos Island asks, should he be thrown in jail for being a former minister?
You should be thrown in jail for all kinds of reasons, but being a former minister is
Oh, You're nice. I would tell him no, he doesn't deserve to be thrown in jail. He deserves to be thrown into a fire. I mean, he's a straw man. What better way to destroy a straw man?
I think it's interesting that that guy was so ass chapped about him being a
Yeah.
former minister. And you know, one of the good things that Godless Iowa does is he's part of the put it in the chat there, GI, the ministers that leave the
Oh, Clergy
faith.
Project.
Yes, Clergy Project. Thank you. So
Yeah.
so he's part of the Clergy Project, and I think that that is just so admirable, because it has to be really, really hard, and in a different way than most atheists, for former clergy, because not only did they believe and do whatever they did when they believed that might have hurt somebody else, like if you decide, like if as a religious person you decide that you want to tell a gay person that you don't accept them,
Yeah.
that's one thing.
It's
But then when you're clergy and you tell an entire congregation that you shouldn't accept people like that,
yeah. Yeah.
when you come out of that,
Yeah.
there has to be a whole other layer on top of your personal feelings for spreading that to other people. And so I think it's really admirable when they can come out of that. And I think that they
Yeah.
should be embraced.
Oh yeah.
And because they deal with a little bit more than, and by a little bit more, probably a lot more than the rest of us kind of do.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I look back at when I was younger and that, and I mean, I didn't first hear about. I didn't even know being gay was a thing until the big outcry from Massachusetts with when they passed marriage equality and
Mhm.
that, and I first heard about it, I'm like, oh wow, that's cool.
Mhm.
I didn't think much about it. Then everybody around me starts saying, "Oh, how bad that is," and everything. And then, of course, I'm like, "Okay, maybe I should believe like this and that." And it's just, and so it's what more or less I always heard and kept getting pounded in my head and pounded in my head. And I look back at those views that I had, and I cringe. I
Yeah.
do. Um, and I can't believe I ever held those, but I don't really see too many more questions. So yeah, I think we might be. Think that might be it. So thank you, Casey, for joining me today. For
Well,
this
thank you.
interview, it was a real honor to have you on. Like I said, I look up to you a lot as a creator and just as a person in general too. Although I think if we ever met in person, I might not. I might be having to look down at you.
Probably. I am slightly on the vertically challenged
Yeah,
side.
I'm 5'11", so.
Yeah, it was really great being here. Thank you for having me on. And if you want to, or if anybody else wants to, Mr. Atheist has a show coming on here in about 10 minutes, and GE and I are on that. It is a pre-recorded show, but it'll be live, so there will be chat. And Mr. Atheist and his co-host Jamie and John and I will be on there.
Yeah. Oh! You got to talk to GE. He wants to know when the next Casey's Corner is. GE, rule number one with women: they will get to it when they get to it. I understand that if you, I'm sure that if you kept asking, I'm sure there's a nice warm doghouse for you somewhere.
I'll try to get one recorded for this week. I do have one written, so I'll try to get it recorded this week. So we have a Casey's Corner on Thursday.
All right. Yeah. But yeah, thank you for coming on. And to use the tagline you and GE always use is remember to stand up and use your voice. Thanks for
Yes.
watching.